reach a certain number of score, right? Here also you have to go through a certain number of score. And aside from that, IELTS has two major parts. We have the general module and the academic. Alright? So when you say general modules, these are the kind of test that you will take if your purpose of going abroad, of going to another country is for employment. Okay? You will have to work. And for migration purposes. So in other words, in TOEFL, are you familiar with TOEFL? Have you heard about TOEFL?
No.
No. All right. In TOEFL, it's another test which only focusing on academic. So it means to say you will have to take TOEFL because you will study abroad, right? Not by working. But in IELTS, either you will work or you will study. In general English, we have the purpose of it is for employment, for migration. Meaning, when you say migration, you will live in another country. Alright? And when you say academic, these are purely for studying or study. You will have to take academic modules for IELTS for studying. And we have the four major parts here. Four major skills that should be considered in IELTS, which is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So this is IELTS all about. There are four major skills that we need to take. She already experienced having listening activity for I think 3 times already. Alright, but now we are going to focus on speaking. Alright, we're done with listening and now we are going to move to speaking. In speaking, there are various techniques on how to get the right score. Okay, there are also 3 parts of IELTS speaking test. 3 parts, okay? The first part, is just about introduction. Introduction. For example, you would say something about yourself. You have to introduce yourself to the public or to the interviewee. The second part is we call it a guided question. Okay, it's a guided questions. It means to say that you will be given a card in which all the questions are written there on how you are going to answer it instead. Okay. The third part is just, we call it as a follow-up questions. Okay, so that is basically speaking for IELTS. We have 3 major parts in speaking. The first one is introduction. So the interviewer will have to ask something about yourself, about your country, about your age, about your profession, about your major and everything. That is for the first one. And the second one, you will be given a card. Okay, in the card there is a question and there are guides on how or what to say. After that, there is a follow-up questions. When I say follow-up questions, it means further questions for part 2. Okay? Any questions so far? Yeah. Right? Because this is basically first time for you, right? So IELTS is kind of hard in a way, but if you mean what you are doing, then everything will run smoothly. Okay. So today, since we were talking about speaking, I'll be teaching you the IELTS speaking techniques, alright? This is not just only applicable for IELTS, but this is as well useful for daily communication. Okay, just give me time to erase the writing on the board. I'll explain it to you further. The first technique in IELTS speaking is this one. Accent. Alright. Familiar with accent, the word accent?
Yes.
Alright. So, accent is how you sounded. That is what we call the accent. For example, there are many ways of how to say it. For example, you will say, how are you? Okay. How do you say it in your own words? Without the accent. Right? For example, Korean, they'll say, how are you? Like, how are you? Only flat. So, in IELTS, you must have the intonation, you must have the accent. So you say, how are you? Instead of saying, how are you? Instead of saying flat, you have to do this one. This shape. You would say, how are you? Okay, and always remember, if there is a question mark, you will have to rise it. You have to make your voice a little higher. So don't say, how are you? No, it's a wrong way. But instead, you will say, how are you? Okay, and also, in IELTS, accent is very much important because it gives clarity. It provides good way of speaking. That is the accent. Okay, the next one is, most likely similar, is the pronunciation. Pronunciation, how you are going to say words. Okay, as what I said a while ago, this word. How do you pronounce this word? Right? Sometimes it's confusing. We say this word as better. Right? It's better to go there, but it's not. You must pronounce this one in a better way, so it has to be this way. Alright? Better. It has to do with the pronunciation. Clear?
Yes. It's clear.
Right, later on, we will have to go through with it. The third one is fluency. Any word in mind? Any good thoughts in mind? Fluency. Are you familiar with it? When you say fluency, what comes to your mind?
Fluency. Familiar.
Very good. You are familiar with words. Do not use like a slang words maybe, or just, we call it in Korean way as Konglish. Korean and English word. Just like, for example, the word so-so. Have you heard about this? Wait, have you tried talking to a Korean? And they would say, how are you today? And they would say, so-so. Have you heard about it? You've heard them saying that? Not yet.
Yes.
Right.
It's British English.
Right, it's a British English, but basically it's Konglish. Korean English. Right, when you say so-so, why can't you just say, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm better, I'm not good? Alright? So, so-so. This is not accepted in standard American English. There's no word as so-so. So in other words, you must be familiar with it. You must be fluent. You must be knowledgeable about English. That is for IELTS. Alright, do you have any other questions? Okay, so I guess that's it for today. We're done.